Whatever I wanted to build, I was very clear that it has to have two things which will be exciting enough for me.
If you have to give one advice to the founders in today's world of when the business is struggling, right? Would you ask them to quit or keep trying?
It was mostly the discovery of haves and have-nots. When I'm born in a family of a doctor, lower to middle class, right? Working in the government. My dad has always worked in the government.
You said your dad worked in the government.
Correct.
And so did you. Did you work in the government?
No, I always went.
Coming from a Bania/Marwari family, that's very unusual.
Yeah.
Of the ancestors to work with the government rather than doing business.
Okay.
So you're the first gen entrepreneur in your family.
Yeah.
And of course, business runs in your blood. So what was something that ignited your fire to get into business? What made you take that risk?
Yeah. And the numbers that we were seeing, it is not working out, right? Scooters also, we failed miserably. I won't say that we were an overnight success.
Because we have the largest population as of today, as we speak.
Correct.
So scaling must have always been on your mind. And with scaling, you also require capital.
Correct.
Right? So how did that transition happen from that small Gurgaon hub to seeing a Zypp Electric scooter on every road in Bangalore? Welcome back to Journal of a Leader, powered by VAYN Media. Imagine this. You start with a t-shirt printing machine in your bedroom, and then you lose money over a cycle sharing business. And then there's a month you genuinely don't know how you're going to pay salaries. And then somehow you end up building India's largest electric vehicle delivery fleet with over 1,200 people and 10,000 EVs on the road today. This is not a movie script. This is a real story of my guest today. Welcome, Mr. Aakash Gupta, the founder and CEO of Zypp Electric.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah. So let's start off with how your journey shaped on to how you are today. So it's a very glorified journey, right? So how did you start off? Please talk about how your younger days were. How did you start off?
So I think as a kid, it was mostly the discovery of haves and have-nots, right? That I'm born in a family of a doctor, right? Very, I would say, lower to middle class, right? Working in the government. My dad has always worked in the government, and started with a small 2 BK kind of a place. There's no hall there, right? And humble beginnings. And I think I love those beginnings because I think those were the ones which kind of shaped in some form or shape to know one thing, that life is not going to be easy if you have big dreams. Dreams I always had, right? And I think one of those big reasons why I had dreams were because they were always instilled in me by my mom. I mean, she always used to say that I have named you Akash so that you always look up to the sky. Never look down. Always look up. Always aim for higher, right? And the other thing that I learned in my life, that I would never want to say the word Kash, right? This is like a dream. Oh, maybe I would have it. Kash, I could have done a podcast like yours. Kash, I would have built a business like many people do. So the Kash word was always something that I wanted to say that I would not want to say, right? It's something like that. So those were the building blocks, I think, the early days where I remember, that in class 5 or 6, I was basically promised a video game, which I used to go to my cousin's place and play those Marios and Contras, right? And I used
On the Nintendo.
I don't call it, I don't know whether it was a Nintendo. It was a very basic video game with
Something like a Game Boy.
like something like a Game Boy, where there were 2 cassettes. There was a Mario cassette, there was a Contra cassette, and I used to play it because whenever I used to go to my cousin's place, we could play it. But one of these days, while coming back, from their place, I asked my parents in the car that, hey, can we get this video game? Right? I would love to have one. And frankly, I was told that, okay, why don't you get number one in your class this year? If you become number one, we'll get you the video game. It was about 6-7 months of hard work. I was about class 7-8. I was in class 5 or 6, but used to be 7th or 8th in the class around that time. Yeah, so okay in acads. But that year I really worked hard. I said that I want to win the video game, and I think this is the way the Marwadi / Banya families teach you since beginning that what is the importance of getting something. Yeah, there's a value attached to everything, right? And you know the value since day one. I worked hard that year. I got second in my class. I missed it by a whisker, and I could not get the video game because I was still second. Right. And maybe then I realized, is there something more to it? That, hey, I'm second. I could have still got the video game. So I actually went out one day to a game shop and asked the price of the video game. In today's price, it would be about 15 to 20K, right? At that time, it was about 2,500, 3,000. I don't recall, but somewhere around that. And I felt that maybe I should not look for this anyways because it's expensive, right? So I kind of left that, at that maybe I'm second. I got a book this time, but I never asked for the video game again. But I think one of the things that happened during that journey were two things. One, I will always have to work hard in life if I want to aim for something higher. And the second thing is that there is a reason why I cannot today have the video game and why my cousins possibly have the video game, because we are not rich enough, or we are not, I would say at that status enough or at that price bracket enough, right? And hence, I think those were the realizations in the early days of my life.
You said your dad worked in the government.
Correct.
And so did you. Did you work in the government?
No,
You
I
didn't.
never worked.
Right.
I always
Right.
went.
Coming from a Bania / Marwadi family, that's very unusual
Yeah.
for a dad or any of the ancestors to work with the government rather than doing business.
Correct.
So you're the first gen entrepreneur in your family.
Yeah.
And of course, business runs in your blood.
Right.
So what was something that ignited your fire to get into business? What made you take that risk?
Yeah.
What
No,
I
so I
was
think-
told is initially you started a t-shirt printing machine in your bedroom.
yeah.
So if you could start from there and what ignited the fire,
Yeah,
would be great.
Sure, man. So I think it was very clear that at some point in time in life, because I saw a bit of that divide early on in my life, I had one thing as a dream only, that I would want to build a business at some point in time. Would want to. It's a dream. It's Akash instilled in the memory of that kid.
Of course.
Right? But as a kid, the only thing that was epitome of success for me was to get a job. Right? That was everything. Right? If I get a job, then I get settled. At least I get a saving system started. Right? That was the only thing that I was taught during my childhood. And rightfully so.
Rightfully.
That get
Every
into a
Indian
job. Yeah. Get into a job. Get into stable career. So for that, I did my MBA. Right? Worked very hard for it also. I knew that I am not an IITian. I knew that I had to work hard to get into at least a good college through my CAT exam, and I landed up in IMT Ghaziabad, right? Which was the first certificate of hard work of my life. That if I really work hard on something, at least I can get to a place which is decent enough for me to kick off, right? So that's how I started. And the fire that you're talking about was frankly not even a fire when I got into the job, right? That was the fire that I have to really work hard in the job that I'm here, right? Because the only card I feel that a person who does not have access or does not have privilege has is the certificate of hard work. That's the only card that I knew I had. I had no access. I could not connect with anyone. I had no network.
No
I
contact.
had no godfather. I had only one thing in my life which I had in my control, which was to work really hard. And I was instilled about that all my childhood, all my working years. So I used to work very hard in my corporate life, right? I worked in 4 jobs, right? I worked in Dell, I worked in Airtel, I worked in Snapdeal, and then I was head of marketing at Mobycy. So 4 jobs I did. Every job I only did one thing, that this is not a job. This is my business. I actually ran every business like that, every role that I had. And I started as an assistant manager or, a manager then, and then grew up to a VP in 10 years. But every role, I was very clear that I will not look at the watch. I will not look at someone telling me what to do. I will ensure that I am on top of the game. Because one thing that was very clear, that if I am going beyond the extra mile, if I'm going beyond the basics in my job, that I'm learning. Learning was my biggest factor. That I want to learn in this role, and can I then at some point in time build my business? That was always somewhere running at the back of my mind, that I want to build a business. And frankly, the ignite that you're talking about came about because there was a lot of startup buzz which has started around that time in India. 2011, 12, 13, 14, very early years of the startup ecosystem. But I was watching and I was getting intrigued with everything that was happening around in the startup ecosystem, right? So when I was reading about a Jeff Bezos, when I was listening to a Jack Ma, when I was reading about a Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Paytm, when I was seeing an Ola built up, when I was seeing, the ads of Snapdeal and Flipkart and reading about these founders, right? It was super intriguing for me. I was, wow, this is like a dreamland. It's like that, that dreamland or that, a large Singapore Mela where I want to go to, because this is something which is fairy tale, right? And can I be part of that fairy tale in some form or shape? So while I was in Airtel, I was in a very big MNC. But then I realized that this world is different, and to experience this fairy tale, can I at least be part of it? Can I visit and at least become a cog in the wheel, right? In the ship, can I be a bolt in the ship? So that was me pivoting from Airtel to join Snapdeal, right? As my first, I would say, startup stint within a startup, and Snapdeal was growing very fast. I got access to a lot of good work very quickly, right? And I could see in Dell, whatever I used to do, used to take 6 months to get implementation, being a large global MNC.
Okay.
In Airtel, whatever I used to do, used to get, shipped within a month. We'll make a plan, we'll think about it, we'll communicate it. Within a month, it's launched. In Snapdeal, it was happening on the day that I was thinking that, hey, this is the campaign, this is the creative, let's make it live. Sales start happening because of that, right? So you could see that rigor and the access of things happening very quickly, the speed of execution, right? And the results happening right in front of you. And now getting into Mobycy gave me another power ecosystem, access to that, or confidence to say that, hey, this is a startup. And almost everything now in this startup, I'm also taking calls in. I'm sitting with the founders throughout the day. I'm thinking what can work, what cannot work. I'm analyzing that. And I'm taking business decisions myself. I'm creating new thoughts. And then, suggesting it to the founders. And they are saying, let's do it. And I'm doing it. And I'm seeing the results of it. So I could get the closest to building my own startup
Right.
in Mobycy. And frankly, while I was doing all this, anyways, the entrepreneurial mind doesn't stop. And hence, and the good part is my wife and my one of the co-founders, Rashi, she is that person that whenever I would have an idea, she would say two things. Great idea, let's do it. But I don't think so that we'll be able to do it well if we don't think so well. So she will try to balance it out. Let's do it, but how well to do it? She'll put a lot of questions to correct that idea to get that finesse. So we used to go out on markets, frankly. We created one edtech platform of our own. We called it Pathways Inc., I remember.
That was your first.
That was the first very early
okay.
trial in 2013, right?
Okay.
Because I saw that my education did not help me get any access to the real world. I was learning stock market on my job. I was learning sales on my job. I was learning how to create a network or how to make friends of business friends in the job. None of that was taught to me in the school. I was a naive kid. So I was learning all these things. So I thought that why don't I create a platform where we go to schools and colleges and teach people these traits, these kids, these traits of real life lessons of sales, of stock market, of networking, right? And that was, Pathways.
Much needed.
Much needed, I felt, even now, right? So we were very early on, but I think we were ahead of the curve.
Right.
At that time, EdTech was not there. Schools were very closed ecosystem. They were thriving. This new style of education was not there. It was only CBSE, ICSE. IB was also not there so much. So we were ahead of the curve. So we visited a lot of schools, colleges. Some gave, access. We tried to do a bit, but they said that, hey, you'll have to do everything yourself. We'll maybe give you an access. And that too, not very clear. So I thought that, it won't work. Trickled back, then went into the market. And at that time, we used to watch the US Shark Tank a lot more, right? We were intrigued because we were intrigued about getting into the startup world ourselves. That was the fire which was brewing all the time, which was burning all the time. So we went, watched almost every night after work from my office and Rashi's office. We'll sit down at 10 p.m. 10 to 10:30, there used to be, a channel where the Shark Tank US used to come. And we used to watch Mark Cuban, Robert Herjavec, and, all of those amazing guys and those amazing stories. One of the startups within that was about this sandal, which can change straps and can change heels, right? A contraption of a sandal, which just, you'll have multiple sandals in one. And we liked it. So we went out in the Delhi markets, in the old Delhi market, talked to some suppliers that can we do this? Can we create this contraption? There are some buckles and, stuff that we need to do on the woman's sandal. So we did that. Again, we did so many trips in metros, going to those old Delhi, creating those partnerships. Then somehow tested in the market, did not get that kind of a response from the consumer, right? Indian consumer says that this is just a 200, 400 rupee piece. Why do I want to buy, with more straps? The thought got killed. So that was the second failure of sorts. Then the third one was the t-shirt one, right? Third or fourth
That's
one.
the third one.
Third or fourth one.
okay,
Maybe
okay.
we would have tried a few more
Okay.
things in the market. And then we came to this t-shirt thing. And, just one day, the thought came alive that let's Flaunt. Because this is also one of the things that if I want an Elon Musk on my t-shirt today, I might not get it, right? If I want, a quote that, what's your cash on the t-shirt, right? I might not get it. So why not create a portal where people can put in their text, their images, and that exactly comes,
yes.
on a bunch of colored t-shirts, and then you get a printout. Within 5 days, it gets to your home. Right? So that was Let's Flaunt. So t-shirts got into mugs, it got into iPhone covers, got into all these things, right? Customized stuff, right? So that was the first real startup where we created a private limited, started with a proprietorship, then created private limited. It was a side hustle for me, right? I was still in the job. I could not leave it. Initially, Rashi was also in a job, could not, leave it because it was too small. But I remember we used to go out in malls every weekend, right? So I'll tell you, every day Office was my number one priority because I am hustling. I want to be the A1, which is the top ranked person in the office, right? In terms of appraisals, because I want to grow fast. I want to learn fast. So that never used to take a back seat. I used to reach office 9:30. I used to leave office 9:30 or 10, right? I did not used to look at the clock. My peers used to go at 6, 6:37. Some of the people used to say, why aren't you going? I said that I think I'm learning. I'm liking this work. I'm doing more than what I'm being asked to. And I think my boss is liking what I'm doing, right? If I'm creating dashboards, which he's never seen before, if I'm going out in the market and getting insights which he does not know, I'm learning in that process. I'm trying to build that skill of talking to retailers, talking to, customers and asking what is lacking in the Airtel service. And I was, building that, presenting it to the CEO. And he was loving it, he was giving me a pat on the back, and that was exciting enough for me to work harder. So that was the 12-hour, 13-hour job. But we used to come home and then we used to print our t-shirts in the bedroom. We bought a few machines. I created almost 1,000 designs. I learned all the softwares where you could make designs. I made the maximum designs for Let's Flaunt, and they used to sell the most. I made a design from Kapil's show, Babaji Khatullu, and then they created a copyright on it that you can't sell it. But all of that were selling like hotcakes because those were new. Whenever a thought used to come in, I used to create a design, put it down on the website, and people started buying some of those. Yeah, it was doing well to a point that Rashi left her job and made it as a full-time thing. And I think we started getting about 100 orders a day, which is good. About 3,000 t-shirts sold, 3,000 t-shirts / mugs sold in a month, which is good enough. About 5 crores, 6 crores revenue annualized, 50% margin. It was good, right? So it was well to do from that lens. At least we could know how to create a business, right? For that, we went to Tirupur, we went to Ludhiana, we got suppliers, we got to manufacturers who could make t-shirts firsthand for us. We could, buy all those papers, the sheet papers, print it, create a team. So learn the ropes of what really is. And actually, we did not think it as a startup. We thought that we are creating a business.
Just another business.
It was a business. Startup was still, a very big thing for me, right? For me, startup was something which I'm not a part of yet. It's a big thing, right? A small business is what I used to call it. It's a small home business is what Let's Flaunt was for me, which is why I never left my job for it, because I wanted to build a startup. My main game was that I want to build a big business, possibly a unicorn, which used to be very intriguing as a word, right? As a cash word for me, that hey, these are buzzwords. These are things that you want to build, not just because I think it gives you a validation, but just charm of solving that puzzle and reaching to that stage is something which intrigues a founder who's just in a job wanting to build one.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we get into the actual story of Zypp, you started a cycle sharing business.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Can you talk
Sure.
more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Zypp basically is our third or fourth pivot
Okay.
into this business. Cycle sharing was our first launch of the same business that we are in. So it's the same private limited,
All right. Yeah.
right? Which is now almost completing 9 years. In August, we'll be completing 9 years. And the first thought which I launched was the cycle sharing concept. And we called it Mobycy.
This is right after the T-shirt.
Right after the t-shirt, right after MobiQuick.
Okay.
Right? So just as soon as I quit
My
MobiQuick.
cycle, like what was?
I'll tell you. So basically, whatever I wanted to build, I was very clear that it has to have two things, right? Which will be exciting enough for me. Two things. One, very clear, a big business opportunity. A unicorn, a decacorn, a global large business is what I would always want to build. Number two, has to have a huge impact. It has to build change into the world, right? Something, if I am changing the world, then I think it will always keep poking me to do more. I will never think of time. I will never think of how many years I've spent into. It will be a business. If it is creating impact, it'll always make me happy. It was very clear. So when I saw those two things, hitting with mobility and sustainability coming together, right? Mobility transcends geographies, transcends
Yes.
human. Two wheels given to people creates livelihood, creates, I came here because of mobility and now we are doing this. You're here because of, mobility. So one thing was clear that if I am able to build a business on mobility, it will transcend. It'll become a big business. Second, why cycles? Because they were sustainable. They were impact. They were pollution free, right? And hence very clear that if I get into cycle as a business, then I'll be able to create a huge impact, a positive impact into the world. And India, essentially, I mean, during that time, I was so intrigued with cycles. I was just seeing them all around. That and one interesting thing that was happening at that time, and which was one of the reasons why I started this business, and very strong reasons, is that the cycle revolution, an app-based cycle sharing, was the biggest Series A opportunity in the US in that year. In 2017, when I was researching in the nights to think that what I want to build, because I was living two lives. One life was my business life, my corporate life, where I'm killing it, right? And the second life, which is the 4 to 5 hours life in the night. I remember I used to sit in a specific posture, which is like the sofa will have the laptop. I will be sitting down there, my knees on the ground, and I will be entire night, I will be just, sitting like that, with my knees on the ground, laptop on the bed, and Rashi sleeping there, and I'm just researching about the startup world. That used to be, I think, 2 to 3 years on a trot. I used to just do that every night, 3 to 4 hours of research to know what is happening in the world. What I'm reading about founders, I'm reading about startups, I'm possibly reading the ET Startups Disruption page in the night. I'm researching Crunchbase. I am, reading my Google alerts on Series A, seed funding, Series B funding. I'm just doing everything possible under the sun to learn this new thing called startup, because it's a very big thing for me, right? And I'm working in one, but I can't think of still starting something of my own. So I'm learning, right? So while I was doing this research, this thought of, Lime Bike came in front of me. Lime Bike was the largest Series A of 2017 in the Silicon Valley.
Correct.
Green bikes, green scooters that you go in the US and Europe, you see those. They're still there. Uber acquired them or something, but they did the largest Series A. Then I double clicked more. I saw that there's an OFO and there's a Mobycy in China. One of them were almost touching $4 billion. The other was almost touching $2 billion business. Again, startups, right? Into shared mobility cycles. So I said that if US can take that, if China can take that, why can't India? If I replicate the same thing in India, then I'll be the first mover into this huge disruption which is happening globally.
We are the largest population as of today. Why not?
We have the largest population. We have a huge cycle base. People like cycles. I, always felt for sustainability, for health, whatnot. And when we launched that concept, it really did very well. For the first 3 months, we were sold out.
The cycle sharing.
The cycle sharing was sold out. We were at the metro stations, 200 cycles at 9 a.m. 9:20, everything was gone. We used to do those time lapse videos where there was a camera sitting there and everything used to tuck, 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 go. People used to use a mobile app, scan the QR code. There was a smart lock. I got that from China. I replicated entire thing, did a huge market research initially, did the first customer validation, sold those, pamphlets to people, told them about it, got people onboarded to our cycles, and that's how the business started, right?
Perfect.
But 4 months, I realized we'll fail because summers hit in. As soon as summers hit in the country, in Delhi, people say that, hey, we can't sweat and go to work in the morning.
Very humid.
Very humid. In Bangalore, possibly. In Delhi, the sun scorches, right? And people can't just take the cycle. And even I could not, right? While I was riding cycles to my home, because I was just, learning from the product that is it working fine. I'm still the chief tester in Zypp and Mobycy, that everything I have to ship, test, app, bike, smart lock, what are the failure points? I was doing all of that. But then I was giving the pamphlet to the consumer in March, April, that, hey, I'm giving you 50% off. Can you ride this bike? You were riding it in February. And he said that, no, I'm done. My fitness goals are over in Jan. Now I'm moved on. My, sustainability goals are over because there's just so much heat. I don't care about saving pollution right now. I just want to go office very quickly. So that's when, the thought of electric scooters started popping in my head. That sustainability has to be my core. EV can be a part of that solution. I want to be a tech business. I want to continue the legacy of learning whatever I baked in using the smart locks. Can I do the scooters? And then slowly and steadily, Zypp came about.
Were you still doing your corporate during this version of you starting the cycle business? Were you still
No. So I was very clear that I will quit the day my app is ready to go live. So I had started my app work. So 6 months before I quit,
Okay.
I had very clearly decided that I'm building this business, and I had decided that I'll quit. But I was kind of, solving some of the pieces of tech. I was hiring the team at the back end. I was hiring an agency who could build the first software for us. And then we could, insource it. So all of that was happening. And I said that there's no point that I leave some of the savings still from the job, which could help the business. So I could continue to earn a bit more every month till the time the app is not ready. So the day the app was ready, which was November 17th, my birthday of 2017, right? The app was ready and the cycles were already about to, go live. I had quit and just full time on this.
During this journey, was your family supportive?
I didn't tell my family.
You didn't?
I didn't. I
Actually-
was scared enough, right? So see, I was on a very good salary. I was almost on a crore of CTC.
Wow.
With good ESOPs included, right? So
Right.
I was, and plus I was VP marketing. I was, great designation. I was on TV almost every month or, twice in a month on CNBC talking about demonetization, talking about fintech, talking about e-commerce, right? So I was doing everything right in my career. And I think the epitome of success back home was to be where I was. And according to the land in Jaipur, my entire family, they used to respect me for what I had achieved. And if I go back and tell them that, hey, I have quit to start something from zero, I knew that they would not be happy with it. So I took almost 6 months till the time we didn't raise our first angel check or seed check. I did not tell my parents about it. And I was like that we'll be in hibernation. We will run the show because I did not want to hurt them or their feelings and give them that undue pressure, which they do not need to take because all they had was a successful kid who's doing good in the family. He's built on his own. I did not want to break their emotions, so could not share, frankly.
You're actually one of the very few people who loved working their corporate job
Yeah.
while also building something of their own. That's actually insane because not many people do that. Because a lot of people would want to quit the job that they're doing and build something on their own because of time constraints.
True.
Right. And you worked tirelessly,
Yeah.
immensely, and insanely, and it's actually turned out to be an amazing product that you have launched today. Zypp.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
So, if you have to give one advice to the founders in today's world of when the business is struggling, right? Would you ask them to quit or keep trying?
See, I think I have never, ever, even an iota, thought of quitting. Never, ever. Because that is never an option in the journey of a founder. I feel quitting is not an option. Pivoting is an option. You have to steer your ship as a founder in a way where you know the game and you know where the game is failing also.
Right? Because you had 3 failed businesses.
Yes.
Before Zypp became what Zypp is.
Correct.
Right? So did you ever feel like, shit, man, I can't do this anymore. I'm happy with my corporate business, corporate job.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like this failure that I'm going through, I can't do it anymore? Or did you take that as a motivation to do better?
No, I think, and this is a message that I would want to give to everyone, that the day you decide it's over, it is over only on that day. Otherwise, there is someone else who is always helping you to move to the next step. It's just because, and usually success happens only after you decide to quit, is one thing that I've learned. So there were two reasons that I never thought of quitting. One, this was my all in. I had nothing else. I still have nothing else. This is all in. I have given my life to it. I will continue to give my life to it till the time I do not see the sunshine. The second thing, at least me, even when I have failed miserably today, I will see the sunshine in my light. I will see my light, not the full sunshine, but possibly that small tinge that there is a sun at the end of that tunnel. I have to see that. And I continuously kept seeing. How I used to see that? By talking to my customer, by going on ground, by talking to my team. They wanted us. They said that we need electric vehicles. We need you to do this. When used to meet the driver partners on the road, they used to say, sir, you have changed our lives. आपने जिंदगी बदल दी हमारी. You are doing something better. हाँ, दर्द 10 है. There are 10 problems in the business. There are 10 things that I want you to solve. But this works. This is helping us. So I used to take that as my shining light. That if I'm helping him, maybe my business is not profitable. Maybe I'm not going anywhere with the business. But if I'm helping that one person, my customer, then one day this should become a business. That was the only light.
Right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. 4 months into Mobycy,
Yeah.
you wanted to start Zypp, or how did Zypp evolve into what Zypp is now?
Yeah. Sure. So I think that was also a big problem for me to pivot into a new brand name altogether within the same business. Because I'm a brand guy. I love marketing, right? That's the first dream that I had as a kid. I used to watch that show on CNBC called Young Turks and the show on CNBC called Storyboard. Storyboard was all about brands. Young Turks were all about startups. Those were the two shows that I used to love watching, right? Otherwise, I used to just study when I was a kid. So branding, I was always good at. Mobycy became a good brand. We were always in the newspaper organically because you used to do those cyclothons, where we used to call people that let's go on a cycle trip, 2 kilometers and then come back to the metro station. A lot of people used to just turn up. And then media used to turn up. They used to click pictures, put it on the page 3, front page. So we had a good brand. And when we were pivoting into scooters, I had a problem that Mobycy was a very strong brand name at that time, with green synonymous to it always. But Mobycy was cycles. It also synonymed to the consumer that we are a cycle business. And when we launched scooters for the first time, I initially said, I first brought 3-4 people. We were a team of about 20-25 at that time. I called my marketing guy. I called Rashi. I called a couple of guys whom I knew that, hey, we need to launch scooters with a name which can tell people that it's something new. It's not cycles anymore. So then we got into my cabin. It was a very small cabin. We just started researching. I wanted a 4-letter word. I was very clear. And I wanted speed in that. So when we were researching about speed and synonyms, one thing which came about is ZIP. Zip it. When you go from point A to point B very quickly, it's zip. Yeah. So I like that word. And I said that I needed a 4-letter word because lime was a 4-letter word in the US. Bird was a 4-letter word in the US. And some of these businesses were all 4-letter words, mobility businesses. Uber was a 4-letter word. And I wanted it small and, catchy. So then I said that and ZIP anyways was not available on the domain platforms. So I tweaked it a bit. ZEPP, ZYPP, different. ZYPP somehow was available. So I took that domain immediately. And then we started calling our scooters Mobycy and then small Zypp scooter initially. Then we just said Zypp by Mobycy. And then there was a time almost 6 months later on, we said that now Zypp is what people are slowly getting into action. We removed Mobycy, had starting Zypp in the logo. We had a different domain called Zypp. Mobycy initially started redirecting to Zypp because we had good traffic, organic traffic. So it was a change management for me. And
Pretty
for
natural.
yeah,
Pretty natural change.
slow change, but very curtailed change, and also kind of a heartbreaking change that the first brand name that I coined had to go away. But I think that was also something that a founder has to take that failure with some learning that okay, we failed,
Right.
but sure, let's create a new one.
So from Mobycy to Zypp, you did that transition and then you started Zypp with a group of 30 people. Of course, there would have been a survival mode within your team and you. The hardest part, no funds, no runway. What were you thinking then? What were you and your team thinking at that point of time?
I think we only saw one thing which we have to do, which is to keep looking at the problems that we are facing in the business. We never looked at competition because it was fierce. Even in our cycle business, there was fierce competition which entered India. There were almost 10 companies, large ones, trying to do the same business. There was an Ola which entered into this. There was a Zoom car which entered into this. There was a Yulu which anyways came along. Then Ofo entered India. Mobycy entered India. The large Chinese companies, they entered India. There was a Vogo. There was a Bounce. There were so many such players who were trying to be the shared mobility option because anyways it was a big theme around 2017, 2018, right? And I was sitting with my team watching all of this happen around me that I left my high paying career in the dream of building a startup and it is really failing. But the only thing that I and my team were thinking that how to get out of the problem that we are facing. Let's solve whatever is not working in the business. So one thing that we did right was to accept failure very early on, right? I think a lot of founders are very stubborn about whatever they are building and they do not listen sometimes that is going wrong for them because it is a syndrome that founders typically have that whatever I'm building is going to be the best and my idea and I am the best. I start with a point of view always that I am the worst. I want to become better, right? And I think that was the ethos that we still run. Even after 9 years of building this, we still run the same ethos in the company that whatever is good, park it. Celebrate it once, done. Whatever is not good, whatever is the problem that we can still solve, let's roll up our sleeves and try to solve it.
Right.
That's the motto, right? So while I was seeing the business fail, at the same time, why we did electric scooters? Because cycles failed. Why we left the shared mobility kind of a product to say that we will only do subscriptions, which means longer rentals, is because we knew that it won't work in India. While others were doing it, but we realized that with the capital that we had and the numbers that we were seeing, it is not working out, right? Scooters also, we failed miserably. I won't say that we were an overnight success because we launched scooters in 2019, right? 2018, 2019, we started piloting.
And COVID hit.
And then COVID hit. But COVID gave us actually a good learning that whatever we are doing is for the gig economy. Because at that time, there was so much issue with the gig economy. So many people left their jobs overnight. And so many people wanted to become a delivery partner to make 25,000 a month. So many people. So we had so many people who came to our hub. We had only one hub, 200, 300 scooters around
was this?
at that time. This was March of 2020, COVID time, right? When COVID had hit, we had 200, 300 scooters, I remember, one small hub in Gurgaon where we used to do everything from makeshift arrangement, jugaad, right? We were doing all of that. And then we realized that one consumer who was always coming back again and again was a delivery partner. He wanted to take the scooter on a weekly subscription plan so that he can make an 800 to 1200 rupees a day. As simple as that, right? And then we realized that, okay, this guy is, liking to join. Why is he liking? And then when we double clicked, we realized that this consumer of ours is a young guy, 18 to 22 age group. He comes from a village or a small town to a city to make some money. He does not have a degree. He does not have money in his bank account. Nobody will give him finance because to buy a new vehicle, either it's 100,000 rupee new bike, which he cannot afford because 20,000 down payment he does not get. None of the bank will give him loan. So he's non-accessible to the 1 lakh rupee asset. What he can then do is buy a 35,000 rupee old second-hand motorcycle, right? Which possibly he will get on loan or 1,000-1,500 rupee EMI per month for 24 months. The bike will become his, right? But still, people, that option, the industry was working on that option. And we always used to get this question asked by us that why are you trying to solve a problem which does not even exist? Every delivery partner of Zomato, Swiggy, Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, those are the brands at that time. They're all riding two-wheelers. They're all riding motorcycles. Who gave you the thought to make them to go on electric? Right? Why? I mean, I used to get asked this question by VCs also quite a lot. Why are you solving for EV? Solve for petrol. The industry is on petrol. But the other thing that me and my team used to see is that electric vehicle, when this young guy, 18 to 22 age group, who makes 1,000 rupees a day max, right? And he works for 26 days in a month. If he shifts from a petrol bike, the second-hand petrol bike, to an EV bike, he starts saving 5,000 extra per month.
Can you?
Yeah, I can give the
decode
math.
the math?
So let's say, so Zypp is a high-speed vehicle.
Right.
In 99% of the cases, right? So because it's a high-speed vehicle, the guy gets the same comfort of a petrol bike, right? Now, let's say he buys his own second-hand bike, right? One, he's always running a 1,500 to 2,000 rupee EMI, right? That's one. Second, his fuel cost per day is about 200 to 250 rupees. And because if it's 100 kilometer, it's 2.5 rupees per kilometer is the running expense on a petrol bike.
Right.
So which is his second expense, right? Which is 250 rupees of fuel, which is about 7,000 rupees, 6,500 to 7,000 rupees a month, right? That's his second expense. And the EMI is 1,500. Then the maintenance cost on a petrol bike typically is 1,000 to 1,500 rupees additional. So his total expense, if you'll total up, is about 10,000 to 11,000 rupees a month. When he used to move to Zypp, and at that time we used to run our bikes at about 150, 160 rupees a day rent. His max expense was 4,500 a month.
Considering you have 0.25 rupees as your
Fuel expense.
Fuel expense.
Which is the charging cost.
Right.
Just 25 paisa per kilometer. So his cost literally came down from 10,000, 11,000 to just 5,000 rupees a month. 50% savings. 5,000 extra for a guy who's making 25,000, 30,000 is like crazy appraisal, right? So that was one thing that we were very clear on, that if this guy is getting his problem solved and he's saving more, once he adapts or adopts this solution, he will never gonna move back. Because why would he want to own? The other interesting thing which we learned, and we took time to learn it over and over again, is that a typical job of a delivery partner is not an easy job. It's a 10 to 12 hour on the road, right? Which means that it is a job that a person cannot do forever. He will do it for 3 to 4 months when he really wants to make money. Then he'll take a break. He'll take a 2-month, 3-month break. Then he'll go back to his village. He might be supporting his family during the farmland season. When there's harvesting, when there's cutting, he goes back to the village. He's also writing an exam because he wants to figure out his life. So he's studying for 3 to 4 months in a year. So that time he does not do deliveries. He's also sometimes goes back to his family because there's a wedding, there's someone who's ill. So he goes back to support. So the job of a gig delivery partner happens in phases. And typical gig delivery partner works for only 12 to 15 months as a delivery partner in his life on an average. Some people will work for 3 years, 4 years also. Some people will work only for a month and leave also. So the average is about 12 to 14 months. Now, and that too with breaks, at least 3 breaks in the middle. So when we saw that pattern that this guy is breaking, this guy is going, coming back, the rental option is the best option for him, right? So we created a rental plan that, hey, there's a weekly subscription plan that we give access to you and you run your show. You make your 1,000 rupees, you pay us the 200, 250 a day. And that started growing as a wildfire, right? Then basically the thing that started we saw that EVs were breaking madly. EV as a product, which we subscribed, first cycles, they had their own issue. Scooters had their own issue because electric vehicle was not solved as an industry.
So Akash, do you manufacture these scooters or it's a subscription-based model with your brand on the scooter?
Yeah. So we don't manufacture anything.
Okay.
We are fully asset-light platform from that lens. What we are is a Netflix of two-wheelers, right? And for businesses, we are like the AWS of electric, right? That's how you can consider us. We are a tech layer, which knows the vehicle very well, which knows the data points of this vehicle all the time, coming to us every 10 seconds. There's a data point coming from the vehicle. There's a data point coming from the driver. There's a data point coming from the mechanic. There's a data point coming from the spare part.
Okay.
There's a data point coming from the battery. We are an optimization layer of these data points to ensure there's a better utilization of this vehicle at the best way possible, right? So giving you an example, if a vehicle stops working, and initially we used to ourselves take about 5 days, 7 days, 10 days to repair it, sometimes 1 day also, but on an average about 5 days because spare parts were not available. The qualities were bad. The product that we were putting out, we didn't know that product. So we got very deep into the value chain to design a product that will be the best suited for the market at the price that is best suited for the market. And then we looked for partners who could manufacture this on our terms. We found those partners. We made them our strong partner to say that you build the best product, you ensure that warranties are there of this product, you ensure the price is right, you ensure that the spare part network is running, up and running. And one thing that we realize, and you would know that if a vehicle stops, which is an electric vehicle, if there's a petrol vehicle which stops for a delivery partner, he's out of business for at least 3 to 5 days because he'll go to workshop.
Correct.
Typically, it'll ask him to submit the bike for a few days, and then he will be up and running. For a daily wage earner whose livelihood depends on the 800 to 1,000 rupees that he's making, the 3 to 5 days of break is kind of killing for him, whatever he was making, right? What we have done with all these data points and our own hub infrastructure that we have built, we get him a downtime of only 20 minutes. If a bike stops, if there's any problem, he is out of our workshop in 20 minutes.
That's insane. How do you make that happen?
We have 400 people. So I have a 1,300 member team now across 8 cities in the country. There are 400 of these 1,300 people who are on ground, who are basically workshop guys, who are the mechanics, who are the spare part in charges, who are the insurance managers, who are the inventory managers, who are the battery managers. These are the guys who ensure that whenever there's a delivery partner who's stuck, we'll solve his problem. And plus the delivery partner has to click a button. He clicks a button, either the mechanic will visit him or he can go to the hub and get the bike sorted with everything visible to him, whatever is happening in the bike, whatever parts that need change, it's visible to him on the app with AI integrated on top of it so that it's transparent for him, right? That if this part is broken, since the time that I have taken, it's visible to him. And then if he changes it, it improves his efficiency, right? So we've kind of made the entire business into data points, broken into every human in the system has to work on 5 to 10 data points in the day, which are available on the app.
Right. So I cannot buy your scooter.
Yeah.
Can I buy it?
Not as of now.
Not as of now. Just a subscription-based model.
Correct.
On a weekly or daily basis.
Correct.
Which is very feasible for daily wage workers, which is why these
Gig economy.
Instamart and
Correct.
Flipkart and Amazon delivery partners have actually accustomed to your product.
Yes.
And which is doing extremely well.
Yes.
Got it. So now how did you think of scaling? Because scaling in India is a very, very big term.
Yeah.
Because we have the largest population as of today, as we speak.
Correct.
So scaling must have always been on your mind. And with scaling, you also require capital.
Correct.
Right? So how did that transition happen from that small Gurgaon hub to seeing a Zypp Electric scooter on every road in Bangalore?
No, absolutely. I think it's been a long journey of, again, failing. I can say that I can write a book on failures. and like, in fact, the first time when we had launched cities, we failed. Right? We had launched Hyderabad, we had launched Pune, we had launched Bangalore very quickly, early on, to say that, hey, let's become a national business, because the investors are saying that you are only in Gurgaon and Delhi. You're too small for us to, even think of you or funding you. So that gave
And
me
I
a,
feel 2017, 18, if I'm not wrong, Gurgaon was still a tier 2 city. Am I right? Or
no, I
was it
won't
tier
call it.
1 by
I
then?
won't call it. Yeah, Gurgaon has always been, different
Okay.
and kind of better off. So
Okay.
it was always
Almost
tier
a
one. Delhi
tier
NCR.
1, yeah.
Delhi NCR is one
Okay.
in that sense. So Gurgaon, Noida, Ghaziabad, and Delhi, obviously,
Okay.
they kind of make the framework
Okay.
of
Perfect.
Delhi. So it was always there,
Perfect.
right, as a decent city. But one thing was very clear that our things were not working, right? Our scooters were breaking, our tech was breaking, our spare parts were breaking, our drivers were unhappy, our batteries were getting discharged sooner. And then we actually, it's, one thing that I've learned, you can only build a successful business if you're on the ground, if you're close to your customer. And I have always done one thing, that I am always close to our customer. I want to keep hearing. The one thing that I always appreciate, and this is one thing that we do as a sanctity process, it's part of our DNA, that every team member of the 1,300 people have to meet one delivery partner on the road at least once a month and share what do we learn, what can we improve in his life, right? In fact, now I've started a podcast for the gig economy because I used to go on ground. I have so many reels which have gone viral
Yes, yes.
because I meet a delivery partner and I ask how his life is, and I just post it on an Insta and that'll just blow up. I said that why not I now bring them to my office and hear their story, hear their ambitions, hear their pain points further up. Because this economy matters. There are 10 lakh, 15 lakh people on the road who are delivering goods for us. We can't live in the world without deliveries now,
True.
right? It's a de facto for us. But who's listening to them? So hence I've launched a podcast called Gig Ki Awaaz, which is to hear their pain points, solve it on the go, right? In fact, the first episode just went live. And one of the problems was that one of our hubs also, and I learned, that was not talking well to the delivery partner. The delivery partner said that I went in the morning, I didn't get a great feeling going into that hub, and my job was delayed still by 20 minutes. I had to solve it right there. I called the team. I said, let's check the stats. And then I realized that there was a UI UX issue also because the expectation was not rightly set in terms of the way that we show it on the app. And essentially, we have a training for all our fleet staff twice in a month to tell them how to speak to a delivery partner. Because there's a 30,000 rupee guy talking to a 30,000 rupee guy. Both uneducated, both from the ground, both a little crass in terms of the way that will, how to bring that into an SOP, how to train them, retrain them, how to get that into a tangible metric. So what we do now, every interaction with my team member, with the 25,000 people who work using the Zypp platform, who are my customers, that has a rating. Every interaction is rated with a 5 star to 1 star, and then we peg it against each and every one of our team members to say that who needs training, who needs reprimanding, who needs a change to basically improve the ecosystem.
Got
Yeah.
it. Right. So how did the scale happen, Akash?
Yeah. So the scale is basically, one, we when we started seeing the adoption growing, one problem we never had in the business,
Anshul.
Anshul, I'm so sorry. One problem we never had, Anshul, in our business is that we never had issue of demand. Whenever I used to speak to a Zomato, whenever I used to speak to a Swiggy, whenever I used to speak to an Amazon or Flipkart or Big Basket or Blinkit or Zepto or anyone, Porter or Uber or Rapido, they said we need more. We need more of electric vehicles. We have a government goal of 100% electric. We have our internal goal of going as soon as electric. Can you double your fleet in the next 3 months? Can you make it 10x in the next 2 years? That is the conversation I still continue to have. So we were very clear that demand to hai. When we used to go on ground, people seemed to be happy. They had pain points, which we could solve with time. But we said that he's still not leaving us. He's unhappy, but still not leaving us. So if we improve, he will love us more. So one is solving for his experience as the top-notch KPI, that we need to make it better, whether it's the bike, whether it's the battery, whether it's his experience, whether it's the app, we have to continuously improve that for the guy. And once we started solving it, people started understanding a bit of our numbers, like international investors came forward. So the first way to scale up was Jugaad, where I said that we are creating a green revolution. Hey people, do you want to join the green revolution? Invest in scooters and we will pay you a return every month. So because nobody was giving us capital and our business was such that people didn't used to understand the business model also. Every business model which was like Mobycy shut down. Every business model shut down, right? A Lime almost didn't do well, a Bird didn't do well, Ofo Mobile bankrupted. The businesses that I had started with as an inspiration, they died in front of me after my launch within the next 18 months, even after launching in India. So one thing was very clear that I had to pivot. While pivot, I had to solve. What is working, continue to hammer that. What is not working, continue to solve. And then try weird things to raise capital. So one of the weird things was to tell people on a LinkedIn post and a Facebook post to say that, do you want to buy scooters and give it to us on a leasing plan? So I just went wacky with the team that let's say that let's give people 25% return on their capital, but let them invest. From 200 to 2000, we went through this way because we never were able to raise capital, right? Which we could, leverage.
Right.
Banks were not giving us loan. So we used this hacky way to grow from 200 to 2000. Once we became 2000 and a decent size, then an international investor found us to say that, hey, you are electric, we are electric, can we partner? Right? So Gogoro came forward from Taiwan.
Okay.
They said that we would want to fund you a bit, right? To basically see that can you grow from 2000 to 7,000, 8,000, and in that, if there's a way to partner, we can figure it out. So somehow some lucky means of finding capital.
2,000, 7,000, what?
Number of vehicles.
Number of vehicles.
So because we had raised 2,000 through all of these contraptions of trying to raise capital through various means, and then from 2,000 to somewhere 7,000, 8,000, we got to when we raised our Series A round of about $20 million, right, through some Indian investors and then led by Taiwanese Gogoro. So that happened well for us, and then we used that capital to continue to solve, fail. That remained our mantra. But like now the next stage of solving was different. Next stage of solving was creating SOPs, creating more tech, creating more processes, launching possibly a Bangalore, right, around that time. Because we were one thing that we learned after launching small pilots in other cities is that we are not a width business. We are a depth business. Go as deep as possible into one market. Like you say that, we just went down in Bangalore, we stood on the streets, we at least saw 5-10 Zypps passing by in 10-20 minutes.
Yes.
That is exactly the way the business works. Because for us, that the infra costs, get optimized, the team costs get optimized, and a better experience gets delivered to a delivery partner.
Right. Yeah. Now, before we actually go deep into the funding and the runway you have at the moment,
Sure.
you speak a lot about manifestation, right? I've seen your posts on Insta. You talk a lot about manifestation. So what goes into your thought process when it comes to manifestation? Do you actually believe in it, or is it just a surface level positive thought that you have?
I think the reason I am able to create this business is because I manifested it. I believe so much in manifestation. I live it every day, right? And I think it has a huge power to whatever you want to do in life. If you have a cash, write it, is my thumb rule in life. Make your Apple notes, make your Google notes, make a diary, but always whatever your dream is, whatever your cash is, write it. Because writing changes everything. I'm a firm believer of it, right? And frankly, in 2012, while I was working in Airtel, when someone had pushed me and introduced me for the first time to write my dreams, I did not even know the word manifestation, right? But when I was made to sit by one of my senior managers to say that you have to write your dreams. I see you are a hardworking guy. You have to write your dreams. And I sat down on a weekend. I wrote down my dreams. I was told to write 100. I could write only 29 or 30, in the first sitting. But the first goal or the first dream that I had written in the diary, I want to build a big business. I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to become a startup guy. I want to build a unicorn, whatever, right? I had written those things as the first few dreams of me. And frankly, when you write something, your wiring changes in your head. Your wiring changes to start thinking that while I've written, can I do something about it? Can I start, double clicking more? Can I start reading more about it? Can I start talking to people about it? And things conspire then. People come in your life. And again, life gives you those directions or those instances where you got to hold on to it. You got to just know that this is the moment where someone is knocking the door. And because you had written something, then you can connect the dots that why this guy is knocking the door. Otherwise, if you're clueless, then people will knock your door and you do not know how to connect it, which is the reason the writing of your goal is the most important thing in life.
Are you what you are or what you had written back in 2012? If you have to reflect back, are you what you are?
I have knocked off a lot of things off that list. I've knocked off a lot of things, I can say that. And I won't say that, again, I do not want to misconstrue to say that everything is manifestation. Manifestation only gives you a dream written, but everything else you have to still continue to do to get to that goal. The wiring changes, but it has to be supported with crazy amount of rigor, crazy amount of discipline, crazy amount of daily lighting up when everyone else's, even the team's light is gone. Your co-founders are not, possibly aligned sometimes. Your investors are not aligned sometimes. But you have to believe every day that whatever you are doing, if you're doing with your full passion, full hard work, full rigor, then you will find the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's a very strong mindset right there, especially for a founder who's running such a big scale of business. Because initially you spoke about there were a lot of things breaking down, you weren't getting things right.
A lot.
So how did you mentally keep yourself together during this time?
No, see, I think there's no one who will come to help you. You can't go back to your family to say that, hey, I'm crying, help me. Nobody will come. You can't even tell it to your team because the team will start leaving you. They'll say that, hey, this guy's not sure. He's even crying. Nobody will hear you cry. There's nobody who's going to pat you on the back. If you share it with your investor, they'll say, my money is written off. They will start putting different pressure. So you have to just go back deeply, internalize, have your calm, have your chi, have your, thinking that in this struggling phase, when nobody is with me, what can I do as a human to come out of this mess, right? And the only thing that I had and I continue to have is the 18 hours of my time. How well I am utilizing my 18 hours, because I sleep for 6 hours. Now I'm trying to sleep for 7 because that's the new, goal. But if I have those hours with me, I want to work. I love working. I mean, in the flight today, when coming to Bangalore, Rashi asked me as soon as it landed, did you sleep? No. Why would I? Flying is my biggest zone of hard work. Because at that time, my phone is off, my network is off. I have the 10 things that I want to do. I will never watch a movie because I don't have time. I have so much work which is going on in my head. I'll clean up first my emails. There's a hack that I use. Just as the plane starts going on the runway, you scroll down to the bottom of your email inbox. Everything gets on your inbox then. All your emails.
Right.
Otherwise, if you do it after flying, then only the few cache come out. So all your 100 emails will be on your phone on the flight. Clear them up. Send replies. As soon as I land, the entire team gets all my replies of the pending emails.
Right.
So that's one thing that I do. Then I have, possibly in the early days, I used to work on the business model. I used to create improvements in my pitch deck. I used to prepare what I have to say today. like possibly now I'm writing a book, so I'm just writing on it on the flight. That's the space where nobody's disturbing me. I'm just in my core zone, acting on it, right? So I like to work as the time that I get, even on weekends. Like people say that there's work life balance. Bullshit. There's no work life balance, yeah. Work is life. If you integrate the two, and see, one of the things that I do, and that's one thing that I want to share with everyone, pick things in life that you like to do. You need to cut down on things that you don't like to do. If, like you, like podcasting, right? Pick it as your game. Keep doing it because you're enjoying it. Don't do anything that you're not liking. I do now, after 9 years of building this, I only do things that I like to do. Even in office, I like to find problems. I like to solve the unit economics. I like to sit on Excel sheets. I like to solve for the driver experience. I like to see that, hey, this one thing is not working. Let's GPT about it. Let's, talk to 10 leaders about it. Let's talk to the industry about it. But let's go to the bottom of the problem and solve it. उसमें मजा आता है.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we talk about how you raised capital, help our listeners actually help them understand how do you pick the right investor? Who do you actually filter out and feel, okay, for a founder, this is the investor I really want funding from. How do you pick out?
See, frankly, I'm the worst guy in fundraising. I can tell you that, right? And I don't know why. Maybe I still don't know the art of fundraising. Might not be the best person to give people advice on fundraising, and that is something that is even shown by my cap table. I do not have any single VC on my cap table, right? None of the VCs in India understood my story well. I'm not a storyteller. I am very out in the face. Jo bhi real hoga, whatever is real in the business is what I will tell anyone, because I don't know how to fake. I will say that these are things which are running right. These are things that I'm working on to make it better. These are things which are not running right, right?
Very honest, very transparent.
Very honest, very transparent. And possibly in that honesty, people would always feel that, hey, this business has still a few problems to solve. And anyone in the Indian VC economy would want a business which has solved almost everything, right? But if we would have solved everything, then why would we need the capital from a venture capitalist, right? So I think that is one dichotomy that I live in. I think stay true to yourself. That's my fundraising hack. Because for me, the only thing that has worked in fundraising is I have knocked more than 1,000 doors.
Cold calls?
It has cold calls. It is going into, some places where I was just invited to visit events, to stand in a stall. I'll give you one example, how my Series C happened.
Okay.
Right? And that'll tell you how all my fundraisers happened, right? My Series C, I went to Japan because there was an event called City Tech Tokyo. I went there because I was given a free kiosk. Otherwise, that kiosk had about a $500 price to it. I had written an application, a competition. And in that competition, we were selected as an Indian startup to present in City Tech Tokyo with a free stall. I stood there in that stall with a standee because that's the only thing that I could carry in the flight, right? I carried that standee all the way to Tokyo along with my bags. And I stood there in that stall waiting for someone to come to me, right? Nobody came. In 2 days, I had my visiting card stacked. I had my standee stacked. I was standing throughout the 8 hours there since 10 a.m. till 6:30 p.m. waiting for someone to come. Nobody came. While I was doing that, I also went out and wrote to every possible venture capital or every investor in Japan. I was writing cold DMing using my LinkedIn. I had started doing that even before the flight only, that I am there for the next 3 days in Japan. Can I meet whoever is possible, right? To meet there. I wrote to at least 50 people before flying with a cold DM, with a request to connect, and with a DM that, hey, I'm in Japan. I am building something in sustainable mobility. It is doing so and so numbers. I would like to have, your feedback on it. Can I meet you? Some meetings happened during that time. So I used to sneak out After the exhibition was done, 2 days I took to meet at least 5 to 7 people. At least I got a peace in my head that I have not wasted my Japan trip. I met at least 5, 7 people. Nobody came to my stall. The other thing that I did during that event was to meet other stall members, right? So there were some large companies doing sustainability because it was a sustainability event, which is why we were invited. So I exchanged cards with a few of those large companies, ESG companies, impact companies, that hey, this is what we're building, this is what we're building, this is what we're building. I did not leave while I was there as a founder. I had to do my 200% of whatever that I could do. Because the one thing that I have in life is my hard work. Nobody should beat that. That is the only thing that I have learned in my life. That and in fact, any interview also that I had cracked, like Mobycy, the role, I was not suited for that role. I had never done a marketing head role. But I had told Bipin, the founder, that if someone else can do this role, I will put in 200% more hard work on this role, and I will ensure that I'll be better of that person. Give me a chance. Snapdeal, I said the same thing. Airtel, I said the same thing. Right? MBA, I said the same thing. Right? So when I went to Japan, I did the same thing. I said that hard work तो करके आऊँगा, बाकी भगवान भरोसे. तो उनमें से one person whom I exchanged cards was a large kiosk in that big show was a stall of ENEOS, which is the largest oil company of Japan. They had an ESG showcase and an impact showcase of their 5 startups which they were supporting in sustainability. Amazing kiosk, huge. हमारा तो एक stand ही था. They had a huge, what do you call
Got
it?
it, yeah.
A big one, right? So I exchanged cards. After 2 months, someone from ENEOS reached out to us to say that, hey, we are coming to India. We want to meet you, right? and they met us. They came to our office. We shared our numbers. As I used to tell anyone, this is where we are. We want to change the world. We want to change electric mobility. We are so and so. These are numbers. An year later, Japanese being, very thorough on everything that they want to do. Almost a year later, ENEOS led our Series C round out of nowhere.
Series A was
Series-
the Taiwan company.
No, Series B was the Taiwan company.
Okay.
Series A were a few Indian investors, Venture Catalyst,
VCs.
Antil Ventures, Iron Fund, and all of that, right? So that's how the fundraise happened for me.
Okay.
The only card that I had was hard work, and that possibly was the only card that someone saw and funded me from ENEOS.
Right. If you don't mind, can you share your equity chart? Like,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, so we've raised about $55 million
Okay.
in this process.
it's a solid runway.
Yeah. So we've raised $55 million into the company. I don't like to talk about valuations, so let's leave that. That's a constant moving needle. The one thing that I talk about now is that we are profitable, right? Over the last 3 quarters. The other thing that was one thing that I wanted to ensure that the team gets aligned to is to get to EBITDA. We worked very hard for it. July, we achieved our EBITDA for the first time, 25. It's been 3 quarters on a trot. We've been positive. Growing, in fact, almost 10x. On our EBITDA, we've grown almost 10x from the July month.
Okay.
Right. So that's where we are now.
Right. Now, you did Series A, Series B, Series C. When did Shark Tank happen between all of this?
Good question. Shark Tank happened at the Series A time.
Series A, initially only.
Yeah, Series A.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had just closed our Series A round
Okay.
of about $7 million, right? Yeah. And that was at about a 220 crore.
Okay.
That's when we were called. And that was the season
You were
one.
called.
We were called. Like we applied.
You applied,
There was a
okay.
form. One of the friends told me that, hey, there's a Shark Tank happening.
I feel that's
you
like
should
a big
apply.
dream for you because you've grown up watching Shark Tank US.
Precisely.
We mentioned earlier in our conversation.
Precisely.
And Shark Tank India, when you applied, you wanted funding too. So can you please talk us through the entire process of Shark Tank if a founder wants to get in? What happens?
See, frankly, I think that's been done over and over again.
True. Yeah.
Shark Tank for me was the culmination of the US Shark Tank that I had seen forever.
Just the brief. Yeah.
Yeah. So the US Shark Tank that I had seen forever. And when we were called on Shark Tank, I was like, it's an opportunity to live what we watched upgrowing what is a startup ecosystem, I would want to pitch. In fact, we didn't even know who were the sharks at that time. It was the morning of our shoot when we were told, because that was season one, almost the first few shoots were happening. So that was the list of sharks that came out. And obviously, we researched that some of those guys, who are they and what is it that we are going to do inside. But I think the goal for us clearly was to be on TV and to live the Shark Tank dream that we had always seen.
Marketing to you will either ways
Marketing
get it.
is anyway something that I love.
It's a national television.
Yeah, correct. So we went in there for that. We went at a 220 crore valuation, which we clearly knew that people won't come onto that. As the first season, as the first discovery of anyone. I don't think so that anyone would come in. And actually the pitch that we had done was also a trial pitch. It was not a business that we tried a scooter model.
Okay.
That we are launching a new scooter,
Okay.
which is a beast, right? And we had those elephants, sitting on the scooter, and that is something that I changed the day before the pitch. Otherwise, I was about to pitch the Zypp journey, but then I changed it in the last moment. I said that let's do a trial. Anyways, funding might not happen because our valuation is too high, but at least let's test that narrative, right? And I typically tell this to every founder now, that whenever you're pitching, don't go for funding, go for feedback. The pitching should be your feedback session.
Got it.
It's your trial. It's your test that you are testing the investor, whether they are biting that story that you're communicating, and that's your learning, right? And hence, do not do a lot of pitches quickly. Space them out, because every pitch will teach you something, right? It's a feedback
What
session.
was the hardest question they asked you?
Oh, so they said that, I think they ridiculed madly that, hey, you want to build a unicorn. You don't want to build a startup or a business, right? You're just for a vanity metric. So I don't think so that you'll be able to build
Did that
this.
fuel something in you?
Always.
Always, right?
Always.
That's nice.
Always.
Yeah. That's always.
Always.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Bring it on.
Always.
Yeah.
So you've done your funding and you did finish Series A, B, C, and all of it. Now you're an investor yourself.
Yeah.
Can you please talk about that journey?
No, so see, I think one of the things that is always in my head, and I don't know, people will feel that maybe I'm trying to fake it. I try to make it more camera, friendly because I'm on camera. But one thing which moves me is to continue to drive impact, right? I like the validation internally when I do something good.
Right.
It's
Now
an internal validation.
Let me reverse the question. I asked you about what do you look when you're a founder and you want someone to invest in? What do you look for a good investor?
Correct.
Now, if someone you are listening to from is pitching to you, what do you look for from a good founder?
Yeah. No, so I think the journey of investing in founders is emanating from the fact that, can I create further impact? Zypp is a huge impact ecosystem.
Right.
There are 25,000 people every month who make a living out of it. Can I now create a bit more impact into the startup fraternity with my knowledge that I have learned and failed and learned and failed and learned? Can I pass it on in a nugget to someone? And can I then put a small check, which is also a help in that stage of the 0 to 1 stage in that journey, which possibly someone did for me also when I was in that journey. I used to go in buses into small towns and pitch into a room full of 25 people about my business, right? And get about 20 lakhs from that meeting.
Right.
Because 10 people decided to put 2 lakhs each into the company because they liked my story. So something like that. And I have seen, can I do the same now? So now what I look for, to answer your question, one is I do it to create impact, to help more. And the person whom I typically fund are two, three things. One, I should understand the business because I
Second,
would.
can I answer the
Yeah,
second
yeah.
one? They have to solve a problem.
They have to solve a problem
Yeah.
for sure. The third is I want to see them working hard,
Hard.
like
Right.
the DNA that I have.
Right.
That are they putting in their everything? If they're putting in their everything, even if they fail, I'm okay with it. But if they are the hardworking guys, if they are on the ball every day with the rigor, with the discipline, then it's okay. I would love to support
Few
them.
companies you've invested in and you'd like to give a shout out to?
Well, there are quite a lot of them. There are successes, there are failures in that. In fact, one thing that I'm now doing, which is the larger vision of helping, is I've now created it into a show format only, called "Help Me Help You." Right? It is a new show which just happened because I used to get at least 50 DMs or emails in a week where founders would send their pitch deck. Founders say that, can I meet you for 10 minutes? Can I meet you for 20 minutes? Can you help a bit? I said, let's make it into a program, right? Help me help you. 10 founders come in every week. I sit with them on a camera.
Okay.
They tell them who they are. They tell me who they are. They tell me what is their problem, and I try to solve it. Now, within those cohorts, if there's one founder who's really the one that I'm seeing almost like me, and I understand that I can help him more, I will put in a small check.
One
also.
company you really liked?
Yeah.
One company.
So I just invested in that process in an AI company,
Okay.
which is solving, everything for everyone in terms of their doubt clearing sessions. Any doubt that you have, you put a prompt, it'll give you a video, which will solve your problem in 3 minutes, right? You can put a photo of a problem also. It'll explain you in a very nice curated format, which is customized to you. He'll say, hey, Anshul, you want to understand photosynthesis, this is how it works. If you're a 5-year, fifth class kid, if you're a 6-year-old kid want to learn the table of 14, it'll tell you very cleanly how to learn the table of 14.
Okay.
If you want to learn trigonometry, if you're a NEET exam giver and you want to understand about politics and Israel war, it'll talk about that also. So it is one of those things. I invest in Grip Invest, which
Yeah.
did a lot of
Yes.
leasing for us.
Yes.
Right? It did a lot of leasing for us of our vehicles only, and we partnered with them. Oh, there's a Flow Mobility, which is done very well, right? It's into autonomous robots. That's something that we invested as part of Zypp as well as part of me, right? A bunch of Goat is another company which I did invest, which recently went on Shark Tank.
Goat Life?
Goat Life, yeah. So Yash, I invested in him very first early round. Again, I saw the rigor of solving something like me in him. Yeah.
Before we head on to your team, before we talk about your team
Sure.
of 1,300 people,
Yeah.
I have to ask you about two things.
Sure.
Now, if an end consumer or a guy from the village comes to the city and wants to make a living out of delivering Swiggy orders or Zomato orders, and he wants to rent out on a subscription basis a Zypp Electric scooter,
Correct.
can you please talk about how can he start? Like, what's the first step? Like,
Sure.
yeah.
No, it's as simple as that because I know that I'm serving that uneducated guy who has dreams, right? Who is a hardworking guy. So we have created an app.
Okay.
It's a Zypp pilot, Zypp rental app,
Right.
which
He
is
has
on
to
Play Store and
download
App Store, right? You download the app, you put your documents, KYC documents, right? We will definitely ensure that you're a legit guy. Your Aadhaar card is old, your social score is good. We create a social profiling score of you on the go, which is AI enabled, right? Then we show you the access of all the bikes which are available to be rented today on a subscription plan.
Okay.
You can select. It starts from 0 rupees. It's go as high as 4,000 rupees. There are flurry of bikes which are available
Okay.
on the platform, right?
Oh, you have different models?
Yeah, we have
Okay,
different
we'll get
models.
to that later. Yeah.
We have different models. We have different ages of the bikes, right? And different efficiencies of the bikes. So the guy can pick whatever he want to in terms of his onboarding fee.
Okay.
So we charge from 0 to 4,000 as a one-time fee with a baked-in weekly plan in it.
Okay.
Right. So the guy gets access to the product within a day. If he got the bike, and within an hour, we will allocate the bike to him, right? Once he is ready with all his docs, He's cleared a training program, which is on the app. He's given the quiz questions. Everything is done. His KYC is done. He gets the bike. He books a slot in one of our hubs where the bike is waiting for him. He will go. He will take the pictures of the bike because for his own comfort, he'll make a video of the bike on the app, which will always be visible to him. And with a very transparent process, he gets access to the bike and he starts earning.
Right.
From the same day, the guy gets connected to a Blinkit, Zepto, Zomato on the fly if he wants to on the Zypp app. If he's already a Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit driver, then all he needs to do is to leave his petrol bike, switch to Zypp and start working.
And what about the charging?
He does battery swapping. There's no battery. He does not even have to charge at home.
Okay,
He
lithium
goes,
ion
it's 100% lithium ion. There are 1500 swap stations which are powering him with zero downtime, right? So what we are is uptime as a service for this guy. 20-minute out,
Yeah.
30-second battery, unlimited kilometers. He just goes, earns, lives his good living with his family, makes the 1,000, 1,200. So in the Gig Ki Awaaz podcast, I'm learning that most of my guys are making 30,000 rupees a month.
Wow.
With an expense of about 5,000, which is what we charge them,
Right.
more or less.
It's a very fast-paced and sophisticated business model,
Correct.
right? Can you break this down a little more? So, how do you actually earn? This is your only source of income through these subscriptions, or do
Correct.
you also are into batteries, or are you into R&D or anything? Or just
No.
the
Our core, the biggest revenue line for us is the rental income.
rental? Okay. Huh.
The weekly subscription plan is what we make money on. There are a few more revenue streams like advertising now. So all the Zypp helmets that you
I
see,
want to notice. Yeah.
all the scooters, all the three-wheelers, we have about close to 800 three-wheelers also. We are putting ads on them. That's another inventory which is generating revenue now for us. On top of the core stream is rental. We've in fact launched a SaaS platform called fleeties.ai because we know that people want to start a Zypp replica, but they don't know how to start. They don't have tech to start. And I know that whoever will start this business will fail within a year. They will fail because they will not track anything. They will not have data points. The nuggets that we have created, that how to track a mechanic, how to track a spare part, how to drive P&L of every bike is something that we built through our tech platform, which is the only way that you can build a good scalable business. We franchise that out. So those are a few revenue streams, but yes, the largest one is our rental core. That's where we make money.
Right.
Yeah.
Akash, now let's talk about your team of 1,300 people. 1,300 is not a joke. It looks small on paper, but it's a huge number physically. From being a one-man t-shirt business
Yeah.
to leading,
2 people t-shirt business, me and Rashi.
sorry, two
Yeah.
people t-shirt business, to leading a 1,300 people company. Can you please, what was that major shift and change? Like, how did that happen? Yeah. What do you feel? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel a lot of gratitude? What do you feel?
See, I think definitely I feel a lot of gratitude in this journey. My journey is full of gratitude, right? And I would thank everyone who's come forward, every team member who's kind of believed in what wacky stories I used to build, right? What dreams that I had. I had to just manifest them in front of the team and make them think that, hey, do you believe in the dream that I am seeing every day, right? That's the core job of the founder, to align your team with your dreams and your visions and your strategy, right? I kept doing that. But at the same time, I think I could not have built this business without the strong co-founders that I have and the leadership team that we've been able to build over and over. And I think the first pivot for me internally to start thinking and start getting to a 1,300 member team is when I first time realized that I have to delegate. That's one thing that I was very bad at. Because a person who likes to do everything himself, a person who's always a hardworking person, he says that I can do it. I'll spend my time on it. I'll do a better job than anyone else because I'm putting whatever I want on the Excel sheet, on the PPT, on the email. But I slowly learned, almost after 3 years of building Zypp, I slowly learned the power of delegation. And that also happened when some right team members came into the business.
Right. Now, how do you know they are the right ones?
Yeah. No, so I think you need to read the people in the room, right? Very, very important. Whenever I used to conduct meetings with the team members, and obviously I keep doing that, the entire day goes in meetings now. You need to read the room. You need to read who is capable of what in your team. And if you align their goals according to what they are best capable at, that's when you are actually doing what I said for myself, that I am doing what I am liking to do. The guy who's in the team also, if he continues to do what he likes to do, and we give him a hammer to make the nail, to nail it better every day with what he likes to do, then anyways the outcome is going to be super strong, right? But you need to know what you're good at, and that's when I think you need to, and once you meet so many people, you start developing a skill set of knowing people better. Like today, when I sit in an interview, it takes me 3 minutes to know whether this guy is for Zypp or not. Sometimes it takes, the first 20 seconds looking into the eye, I know whether this guy is for Zypp or not. Why? Because there's a certain way that we like to work. And I won't say that, we are good or bad. We are Zypp. We are the Zypp DNA. We are the Zypp culture.
Am I for Zypp?
Definitely, all the hustlers are for Zypp, right? All the people who have the DNA that I want to build something, I have the fire, I want to solve for it. I hope you're not looking for a job.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's what I look at, man. That if the guy is, having the fire in the belly and want to solve things and want to get into the mud with me, come home. Zypp is home for you, right? And if you're trying to say that, hey, possibly I'm, wanting to work in a hybrid mode today, I am looking at a work from home. I don't believe in work from home, frankly, in a startup world, because abhi to kuch solve hi nahi hua hai. You're solving things firsthand. A business model like Zypp globally does not exist. We have also been created by failing at least 20 times while solving it. And why we could fail and understand that we failed is because we were together. We were talking about it. We were meeting our customer. We were knowing that this is not working. Can we look for solutions? And when you're trying to solve something again for the first time, you have to go on ground, meet the supplier also himself to say that this brake shoe doesn't work in India. I need a better brake shoe. I need to test it myself. I have to ride the scooter to say that this throttle works, this brake shoe works, this plastic works. And that's what we do. And which is what, the 1300 member team does for us.
Gain a lot of credibility over time.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you've raised a lot of investments, Akash. Have you hit the rock bottom before you go public, or do you still feel you have something left for VCs or any investors?
No, so I think in our head we are ready from all the way that we are working internally is to say that we are ready to go. In fact, I'll share that recently we took our leadership team after turning EBITDA positive almost 7-8 months into the team. I had promised the leadership team a trip, a foreign trip. So we all went to Thailand, right? As leaders, we wore a T-shirt, which was a mindset T-shirt again. Things are all mindsets. Life is all about manifestation, as I said. So we had the T-shirt written Zypp IPO loading 49%. Okay. So we went with a mindset that we want to do it. We know that we are 49%. Can we get into our mindset at least being 100%? Which means let's start working with all the compliances, with all the processes, with all the team members in a way. In fact, I told all my investors that now we are going to do an IPO level reporting every quarter. Even when we are not an IPO, we will act like one. We will call you for a shareholders meeting. We will tell you this is how the business is happening, so that at least we start living it. And when you start living it,
before it happens,
to ho jayega. That's what I believe in.
So, any timeline you've given yourself or your company?
We are on. We are on. I think we are not in a rush, but yeah, over the next 12, 18, 24, whenever the right time is, we'd love to hit the road.
Right. Let's talk about something a lot of founders resist. That's content creation, personal branding. Can you please talk a little bit about that? Because you have about 500,000 followers, if I'm right, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Did that help you? in building your brand?
I think you rightly touched that creating content on social media is a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, you're building a business. The biggest threat that a lot of people think that no, I think his entire focus of a founder is moving towards content creation or building content. When is the time that he's running the business? Which is a very relevant thought
Right.
that people would get. But I think for me, it's been very different, right? For me, this was one of my Akash moments where I always wanted to feel that, hey, can I do this? Right? And I'm a person who's built on this word Kash, as I said earlier also, right? That if there's something that looks very exciting, intriguing to me, I would want to try, right? At the same time, the kind of hardworking guy that I told that I am, I would never want to turn the Apple cart which is running so well, right? I will definitely have 300, 400% focus on that. So for me, content was a puzzle which was brewing in the head since the time of COVID. A lot of people started building content. And I was never in Instagram, by the way. I didn't know even how to operate Instagram or YouTube, right? But I was intrigued with all the podcasts which were happening. I was learning from them. I was like every day in the gym, I was listening to the podcast, one podcast. I was just
In the
finishing it.
gym?
In the gym. That's my
Actually?
zone. Yeah. I always do that.
I could never do that.
You could never do that. I think maybe I would not recommend also, but it worked very well for me because I did not used to get time otherwise during the daytime. I'm working throughout the day. Gym is one area where I would hit two, things in one with one arrow. One is my fitness. The second is my learning.
You actually look fit. The moment I saw you, touch wood. Yeah.
Yeah, touch wood, yeah. So work hard for that. But yeah, so yeah, essentially about 2.5, 3 years back, I said that I would want to build for 900 days. I would not stop. I will post one content piece of a minute maximum a minute every day for 900 days. That's one subscription that I took for myself internally. The second thing, I said that I would not want to invest more than 10, 15 minutes in a day on it, right? If it's becoming more than that, then I'm going something wrong. So those two, checks I ensured that I will make.
Right.
And then I kicked off.
Right.
If you see my first video, first 3 months I was just editing all myself, putting it out, learning, trying to how to speak to the camera is also not easy, right? When something's facing you and you're talking, it's not easy. But I kept doing it because I was somehow wanting to do it. I had subscribed, there was no looking back. Life mein wohi simple. Same rule, I will not look back, I will not quit, I will continue for 900 days and I will spend 15 minutes a day. That's the process that has consistently been done,
Right.
embodied,
Got it.
right? And when you keep doing it, I think, which is why content and business and fitness and everything in life is a consistency game. If you are at it, the one thing that will happen is you will know what is not working. You will know where you're failing. You will try to correct it. You will keep improving. So I think for me, it is that journey where we failed so much again in content. Like for the first 6 months, I was not even able to touch 10,000 followers. It took me 1 year then. And after those 6 months, when the 10,000 hit, maybe one reel went viral, which got to 20, 25K. But it took me 1 year to get to 50K followers. And that's when I cut a cake with the family. Ki chalo, now we have 50K. But now 500K happened just, after that compounding begins. You keep learning, you keep doing better, you keep trying new formats. So yeah, so for me, in fact, the name Kash se Akash was also very cheeky on day one, right? If I'm putting my face out, and what will people say? Kash se Akash, kya bana raha hai? Matlab, why is he trying to be so much out there? But I was very clear. The intent was very clean, yeah. It was never an intent to make money. It was never an intent to become famous. It was maybe a little bit of that, but the major focus was that the vision was that if I know something, can I give back? So again, because it was linked to the vision of helping and creating impact,
Right.
it just went very organic with me.
Your personal profile and brand,
Yeah.
has it helped Zypp Give me one real example.
Oh yeah. So till about a week back, the biggest reel on my platform, which is 14.6 million views, even today pinned on my profile, is a reel where I'm riding a Zypp scooter, talking to a cycle guy to say that, hey, why are you riding a cycle and why don't you ride a Zypp? I'm convincing him, I'm telling him the reasons of going electric and how it'll change his life. So that is my most viral reel. It's just recently in a last 1 week, one reel hit 20 million, which was about parents, which was picked up from some arenas thing, and then I added a link to it that yes, parents are everything, and that's life for us. That went to about 20 million views. But so in fact, people would want to start their brand game to say that I would want to start to grow my business. That's why I'm building a brand. I want to start this. Frankly, whenever I do these things, I now do not have a goal. I want to enjoy the process. If I have a goal, I will finish at some day. If is 500K a goal, is a million a goal, is 5 million a goal? No. The goal is that I will continue doing till the time I'm enjoying and till the time the vision of helping people is coming out.
Got it.
Now, I find people at airport, they say that because of your reel, I've started a business. I find people at railway stations who would say that, hey, your value add on the business models is so amazing. So, and plus so many people commenting on internet constantly that this is good, this is love, this is amazing. So I think if I'm giving back and I'm enjoying the process, I will continue to do that. I don't even think of what people think. Log kya kahenge? I think I've stopped thinking about that since the time I turned 40. Around, that's it.
You don't look 40. You don't look like you're 40. Take that as a compliment.
No, thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's just the rigor.
In Samayarena's recent reel that I watched, he says spending time with family and friends and spending time working on your corporate job is equal. How do you weigh them out, and what's your perspective about it?
So I would say yes and no to that, very frankly. Because as I said, that when you are in the phase of building, right, when you are a nobody, which possibly Samarana also was at some point in time, I think he was working on himself a lot more than spending the time with his family because that was required at that time, right? And I think at that time, family would also sometimes understand, friends would also sometimes understand. And I believe in this also that once you sacrifice, and we've seen so many movies talking about it, right? Rockstar and others, that when you sacrifice, that's when things will happen to you, right? So if I would put myself in those shoes, I don't think so that it is true for everyone. Your time that you spend with your family can be limited in that phase, but it has to be creating lasting memories even with limited time. Right? Today, I feel that I am not spending enough time with my daughter. I'm not. But if I'm spending even half an hour a day with her, I'm ensuring that that's a lasting memory for me as well as for her. I spend 2 hours on a weekend, 3 hours on a weekend, go on a date with her. But that is the time that she'll remember, and we will remember, both of us will remember. We played that game. We went to that place.
Right.
We had that coffee, right? We solved that puzzle together. So and with my mom also, if I'm spending that time, I will try to give 200% of that time in that zone. So that's how I have compartmentalized my life. It's not to say possibly, Samay is also not trying to say that just focus on friends, that's or productive. Just focus on Excel sheets, that's productive. I think everything is important. But my thesis to that is whatever you're doing, give your 200% to that zone.
Correct. 100%.
And it will change depending on the type of life that you are today. If Samay has achieved now, possibly he's able to give enough and more time to his family.
Right.
I am also giving a little more time to my family now versus I used to give 4 years back, 5 years back, 10 years back, 15 years back. But to each his own. Do 200% quality. Be in the moment. Don't be thrifty. That when you are with the family, you're talking 10 other things. Don't be multitasking in those moments, is how I put it.
You're a big CEO now. You're a founder. You're at the top. Does it get lonely over there when you're at the top?
It depends on you. It is always lonely.
What do you usually do to?
No, it is always lonely. And I think I like being lonely. I like my solitude. I like to stay in my own zone. And I won't call it lonely. I think if you are able to enjoy with yourself and your work a lot more, then I think you will start craving for that loneliness also, is a very different way that I'll put it.
Right.
I have my friends on a click of a button. I have my family on a click of a button. I have my team, every day with me. But if you want to do something path breaking in life, you have to embrace loneliness.
True.
Because the life
Absolutely.
up the ladder
I agree with you
is going to be lonely. A lot of people won't be able to catch up to your speed. A lot of people would want to not join you because they are thinking that you're delusional. A lot of people will say, Pagal hai, he's just mad guy who's just climbing his own ladder, he'll fall. But that's your loneliness. Whenever you want to take a break, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. But be on that lonely ladder, that is only going to give you returns in life.
I 100% agree with you completely.
Yeah.
So, Akash, I feel we've come to the fag end of this episode. But before I let you go, I'd like to have this one quick rapid fire.
Sure.
So, let's keep it quick. Whatever comes first in your mind. Can we start?
Go ahead.
Good. One book every founder should read.
Think and Grow Rich.
By?
Napoleon Hill.
Okay, cool. Best piece of advice you ever got, who gave it to you?
My mom.
What did she give it, if you don't mind?
Never say Kash. Always look at Akash.
Biggest mistake you made and you're glad that you made that mistake?
I think I launched too many cities, which was the biggest mistake.
Launched too many?
Too many cities in the first 6 months of our starting the business. That was a huge mistake. But I'm glad I did that to learn.
Early on, at least.
To learn early on what are areas of failure.
If Zypp were a Bollywood movie, what would it be called?
That's a very good one. Zero to IPO.
Zero to IPO. Okay, cool. What do you do at 4 a.m. when you can't sleep?
I'm working. I'm just working.
Money or mentor? Which would you choose as a first-time founder?
As a first-time founder. Money.
One word to describe your wife.
A pillar.
What is something about you that would surprise people?
I don't know whether people think, but I can party till 6 a.m.
Okay, actually?
I love it.
Okay. Come back to Bangalore again and me and my team will come out partying.
If I'm partying, it has to be sunrise.
100%. 100%. What's something you believed about your business 10 years ago that you now know is wrong?
I felt that you can never build a good business riding on gig economy, which is a lower strata of the society. I think we are trying to prove it wrong, and we've come a long way doing that.
One thing you're manifesting for Zypp in the next 5 years, the last one.
Becoming global.
Becoming global. Okay. Okay, last question before I let you go. It's not part of the rapid fire, but if a 22-year-old is watching this podcast today, what is something that you'd want to tell him and he'd want to hear from you?
I would say find your cash. That is the most important thing that I would tell everyone.
Okay.
Find what you're here for. Find your cash. That is the only thing that will keep you going. Write it down once you do that.
Thank you so much. This comes to the end of our episode with Mr. Aakash Gupta, CEO and founder of Zypp Electric. Akash, thank you so much for taking the time out. It was an honor to host you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys are young, hustling. I'm happy that I'm here. And
it's an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great. I enjoyed.
Thank you.
All right.